It's approaching 4:30. You're watching ENCA on DSTV channel 403. I'm Dan Moyane. Thank you very much for joining us on today, on this afternoon, this Thursday. Here are our top stories this hour. President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa says South Africa will continue to call for mediation, dialogue and negotiations in order to end the war in Ukraine, while Ukraine's ambassador to South Africa says there will be no negotiations without a ceasefire. While Ramaphosa defends his decision to keep Bheki Cele on, the police minister gives an update on arrests in the Western Cape. And investigations underway in Mpumalanga after someone set fire to the ANC's offices in Mbombela. Now, this story, a no racism and bullying campaign was launched in the Free State on Wednesday. This follows a number of such incidents in the province. The campaign will first target a former Model C school. To tell us more about this drive, I'm joined now by Mosweu Mokgobo from the Free State Education Department. He's in fact the Chief Director there responsible for district management. Mr. Mokgobo, good afternoon. This campaign is so wide-ranging, dealing with a number of things. Are there areas that you are going to prioritize? It talks about no racism, it talks about no bullying. Those are two big issues in themselves.
Thank you very much, Braden, for affording us this opportunity. Yes, we launched the campaign on Tuesday, where because of a number of incidents that took place in some of our schools, we then decided as a leadership of the Free State Department of Education, led by the MEC, that we needed to make schools aware of the incidents of racism, incidents of bullying, and violence that is taking place in some of our schools, and also the abuse of drug and alcohol in those schools. Now, it was a launch. The intention is to roll it out to the various schools, especially targeting your ex-Model C schools, where we'll be dealing with a range, a number of issues as indicated there. So we'll be going out to those schools where we deal with all of this. It's an integrated kind of an approach that we are intending to roll out. Yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, we know how serious bullying and violence has been affecting schools in particular. And then you had this recent incident that involved what seemed to be born out of racial tension there, but you're still investigating that. So what's the message? What are the messages that you are sending out there to both the learners and the educators?
Thank you, Braden. Our message is very clear that we want our schools to be safe, our children to be protected, the teachers to be protected in our schools. And our message also to parents is that parents must help us to implement the code of conduct for learners, and also teachers must be aware of the code of conduct governing their behavior, because we do not want these incidents to continue, incidents of assaults, because if a person is found guilty of assaulting a learner, that the teacher will then be faced with a disciplinary action, and the learners who are bullying others will also then be disciplined. So we really want the parents to help us to make sure that our schools remain safe to all our children.
The teachers on the ground, are you training them on how to handle situations where there could be physical contact or some kind of violence? Like in that video that went viral where we saw the learner and the teacher, and then that ended up in the learner being pushed by the teacher. Are you in the Free State and empowering, if I can use that word, the teachers there on how to handle such delicate situations?
Brother, indeed, we are training our teachers, we are training our governing bodies on how to deal with these matters. One of the topics that we dealt with as we are launching the campaign was managing discipline in our schools. So we are indeed training our teachers. I must also indicate, Braden, that we have been focusing in mostly our township schools. and perhaps in a bit neglected some of these schools in town or your ex-Model C schools. We also realized that in many of these ex-Model C schools, your SGBs were just elected last year in 2021, and some of the teachers are new. Therefore, we really needed to start with the program once again of training them or capacitating or developing all of them, and hence the rollout of the program to all our schools in the province.
Are those SGBs in former Model C schools inclusive? Or to use a general term, are they transformed?
Truly speaking, Braden, in some of the schools, they are not yet, and that is why we deal with those issues, where you will find in a school which is predominantly your black learners, the SGB will still be, you know, if I may use the word for the purpose of this interview, white parents in that SGB. And the biggest challenge is that, remember, the SGBs are elected by the parents themselves. And this is one other area that we are really dealing with, to capacitate our parents that the SGB must also reflect the population of, the learner population in our schools, so that at least they are able to manage diversity, they are able to manage these learners who are from different cultural backgrounds.
Okay, so for how long is this campaign going to run, Tate Mokgobo?
Brother, we are starting from the 7th of April, and we hope by the end of April we shall have covered all our circuits, the 51 circuits that we're having in the province, because we have got teams from different circuits and also from the province that will be going out to capacitate teachers, capacitate the SGBs. We'll also be helped by social development, the Department of Social Development, SAPS, will also be part of the rollout program as we really deal with the safety in our schools. So from the 7th of April to the end of April, we hope we shall have covered all our 51 circuits in the province.
I would like to speak to you sometime in May just to see how it has gone. Thank you very much for your time there. That's Tate Mokgobo from the Provincial Department of Education in the Free State.